on to all my Doom Patrol fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again, breaking down the latest episode of Season 3 of HBO Max's Doom Patrol. We're talking about Episode 4, titled Undead Patrol, an episode in which we see our crew becoming zombies and wanting and thirsting and hungry for brains, especially Niles' brain. But more importantly, we learn more about Madame Rogue's backstory. Or should I call her Sharon? Or should I call her Lauren? And there's a lot of ass-kissing and ass-eating in this episode. I'm so excited to break it all down for you all in the spoiler review. But before we dive into it, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. If you enjoyed this spoiler review, well, make sure to like and share the review. It helps out the channel a lot, but also appreciate the support. And for all my Doom Patrol fans out there, let's talk about this 6th episode. What do you think about Madame Rogue and the Sisterhood of Dada and what's going to become of that? What do you think? This is the last time we're going to see Niles. They ate his brains, but you know, Niles is somewhere always out there. And of course, your thoughts and your theories for what you hope to see in the weeks ahead with our team still being zombies and still having a hunger for brains. Let's talk about it in the comment section. So for me, before I recap it all, this is why I love this show. We get the most wackiest, craziest, expect the unexpected with this show. As the zombie-fied episode happens, they're talking in zombie language, which was so funny. But even with all the craziness, the ass-eating monsters, I still love that we get those quieter, intimate moments. Our characters haven't forgotten about their traumas, as Cliff's still trying to figure out what's going on with him. You know, we see Vic learns a pretty big thing about his father, potentially making him look back normal before he experimented on him. We get the stuff with Jane. We get the stuff with even Madame Rogue and Rita. There's just still so much richness within developing these characters. Even with the craziness, they still manage to give the show so much heart, and that's what I love about this show, and I really enjoyed this episode. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments as we break it all down, opening the episode up with Willoughby, who I'm thinking there's a purpose. There's a greater purpose of why he brought Niles back, to fight the good fight. But no, he just wants his head for he can trick his girlfriend to get him back with him, which is a classic Willoughby thing. But meanwhile, we have this mysterious character who wants to get the head of Niles, who we'll talk about later in this review. But back to our crew, who has been arisen, who has been awoken from the dead as they're scratching and itching, not knowing what's going on, that they're slowly transforming into zombies. But while that's happening, they want to know who this mystery lady is. We know her as Madame Rogue in the comics, but they don't have a name for her quite yet, as she gets 2 names in this episode. But we see that she's lost her memory, she's traveled back in time, and the only thing she knows is she's there for Niles. And whenever she says Niles, she doesn't know who she is, but she just wants to punch him in the face, which is, you know, pretty stereotypical for people that know Niles. But we see again that she has time travel, which Cliff doesn't believe in time travel. He doesn't believe in her time travel machine, which brings us downstairs to the basement as she wants to go back to talk to Niles. And I love the banter of like, nah, don't go back 2 weeks, nah, don't go back 4 weeks. There was a lot of craziness going on. Go back about 7 weeks, as she's preparing to leave. But Rita smartly takes a piece of her time machine, because Rita has some questions for her, because she remembers seeing that exact same outfit that's in her machine. She saw that outfit from the person that she saw that was identical to her. So she has some questions for this mysterious character before she leaves, and that leaves us with Vic fixing the time machine, as he doesn't want to do. And this is where we see the crew is essentially their bodies deteriorating, as we see that Larry is first. He's throwing up blue stuff, which we'll talk about that a little bit later, because there's something else going on with Larry. Cliff is trying to have his therapy session, but he's starting to rot. We see the same thing with Jane, and the same thing going on with Vic, which kind of brings us into this next scene as his father arrives to the mansion. And this is where he tells him that he's lost his job because of the decision that Vic made of letting Ronnie go. And obviously they're having their back and forth, and Vic reveals that he had a conversation with his mom, which we know from the afterlife, and there was a way to kind of bring him back to normal, as his dad tells him, yes, there was another way. But of course we know that his dad, Stylus, is someone that always wants to experiment in Star Labs, so he could have made Vic normal, but he decided to go and give him this cybertronic body, which obviously is just a conflict that we've always continued to see with those two. So Vic is obviously going through a lot right now with his body deteriorating, knowing that he could have been normal, and there's a lot going on with these characters. But back to Rita and nameless mysterious character, aka Madame Rogue. Rita gives her the name of Sharon, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, what's up with that secret phone, as well as who are you, why she's not prying the information out quite yet, but she's slowly trying to figure out what's going on with you, as they find a secret little message in a secret little vault in regards to a reel that has some information of who she might be, which we cut back to Rita going and having a conversation with Larry as she believes that she's a time traveler, and Larry reveals to her that he believes he's slowly dying, which he thinks that since the spirit left his body, his body is finally catching up to him because he's like, super old, obviously. So I don't know. Hopefully, we still don't know where the spirit is. We know that they're back home, but why did they want to go back home? Will they come back and connect back to Larry before he dies? So that's something to keep an eye out for. But while they're having this kind of, serious heart-to-heart moment, we see that the zombified nature, the characteristics are coming about as as they're talking. We see Rita licks the head of Larry because she tastes some brains, and we see that zombiness is coming about to them. So while all this is happening, we see Madame Rogue, Sharon at this point is watching this reel, and she finds out about the Sisterhood of Dada, who I don't know if this is like an offshoot of the Brotherhood of Evil. It's its own thing. Are they eviler than the Brotherhood? Are they associated with them? Only time will tell. But she's starting to remember who she used to be, and she thinks she's a bird, and we know she can transform into things, but she thinks she's a bird, and she also goes by the name of Laura. The Demel is who she believes she is. But meanwhile, while she's discovering who she is, our crew has now become Doom Patrol transformed into the Zombie Patrol, as they are now hungry for brains, which brings in Willoughby, who finds out and learns that the reason they became zombies is because when the Death Secretary threw up on them, it transformed them into zombies. So I love the connective tissues to last week's episode, showing how they became zombies, and Willoughby has to come up with a plan to make them come back to their normal selves, which we see Willoughby gives them the information about the kidnapping of Niles' head, and he watches the tape, and it's revealed to be Darren Cross, who has been a part of the show since season 1. He was one of the head guys that worked for the Department of Normalcy. He wants a meeting with the Doom Patrol, and it's time to come up with a plan with the Zombie Patrol. So we finally catch up with this plan. They meet Darren Cross, and he gives them his whole spiel about losing his family, losing his job, not being a normal man. And the whole plan right now is, while he's giving them his whole backstory, Madame Rogue, or Lauren at this point, wants to transform into a bird to drop off this little thing that's going to blow up his head. But unfortunately, that doesn't work out. She transforms into a piece of furniture instead. And this is where Darren reveals who he really is. He's been transformed to a butt creature that he was bitten by from that season, and he has a whole army of butt monsters and butt creatures on his side, which brings us to one of the funniest scenes of the episode, some ass eating in this moment. This is why I love this show so much, as they're zombies and they have to eat something. So we see Jane eating the ass. Meanwhile, we just get this cool badass fight scene of them taking out all the different ass creatures again. The stuff come out of my mouth of this show. I love it. This is why I love the show. But time to save the Zombie Patrol. Niles, he wants to save them. He loves them. So he's like, just feed them me, feed them my brain so we can save them. Willoughby says his goodbyes to Niles. And I still think, even with, as I'll get to the scene here in a second, Niles, never say goodbye to Niles. There's some way, somehow, he's going to come back. But right now, he's gone because they've eaten his brain, which brings us to Niles and Laura as they make this agreement, because Niles is like, yes, I know you. You're despicable, and we have to make a deal because I don't trust you. And obviously, at this point, Laura, she doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know that she's an evil person. She wants to be a good person, but she doesn't know exactly what she's done in her past. But they make this deal. Time to eat Niles' brain. At first, the crew is like, no, we don't want to do it. We love Niles, but the hunger overtakes them, and Niles gives them the permission to eat his brains, as they inevitably do. We see them return back to their normal forms, but they still have, when they get hungry, they still have to find some brains, so that's still not resolved. We have to figure out how to get them back to normal. Meanwhile, we see Laura reads the note about Niles' notes on her that she's despicable and she needs to be terminated. So she must have been a pretty evil person. Again, who is this Sisterhood of Dada? I can't wait to learn more about them, because I don't believe they're characters from the comics, to my knowledge at least. I'm a big DC fan. I don't think I've ever heard of the Sisterhood of Dada. But as we wrap things up, we end with Jane as she has her emotional moments to Niles, and she has a little bit of a funny moment like, eat me. And we know, obviously, Jane has that kind of mature nature where she can, make fun of the tragic things in her life. We see Cliff randomly pick some pills online, which I don't think is a good thing for Cliff. We'll see what happens with that next week. And more importantly, we see that Larry has this bump in his stomach again. is his body deteriorating just because he's so old and he doesn't have that spirit to keep him alive? So that's something to keep an eye out for in regards to Larry's storyline and his spirit coming back to save him. And then we see that Vic is still struggling with the idea that he could have been normal, and that's obviously something that he's going to continue to have a struggle with his dad, knowing that, you know, he could have been a normal person versus this cybertronic machine. And then we wrap things up with Rita checking on Laura, who's upset because she doesn't know who she is at this point. She knows that she's despicable. She knows that she should have been terminated, but they have a little bit of a moment. She offers her some oatmeal cookies, and as she leaves, she notices that someone is behind the scenes of this movie of her and the Sisterhood of Dada, and it's no other than Rita herself, which I don't know if this connects to that guy that she met in the Souls of the Tunnel. And Rita, she was a pretty bad person when she was a megastar, but what kind of nonsense did she get herself into? And does Rita secretly know that she used to work with the Sisterhood of Dada? Something to look into in regards to Rita and her older past and the things that she got involved with. But that's a great way to end the episode, and we get like a nice little teaser post-credit scene as the last scene shows that one of the butt monsters have been transformed into a zombie and is making its way to the mansion of the Doom Patrol. So again, the zombiness, them talking in zombie language, the jokes were hilarious, the emotional moments worked, and again, this sets up what's going on with the Brotherhood of Evil. They're still out there. Who is the Sisterhood of Dada? Why was Rita helping them out? Will we get more of Niles? What's going to go on with Cliff and these pills? You know, Vic and him being normal. Jane still has her issues, obviously. And Larry, is he dying or not? So much to look forward to, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the season has up his sleeve. But let me know again, pros, cons, thoughts, theories of what you all hope to see in the weeks ahead. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Before you leave, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell. That way you don't miss any more other content. As you can see on the screen now, subscribe to the channel, check out my other content. Hope you all are staying safe, and we'll see you on the next video.